Hey there, this is Emily and Bernie from Third Place Works, where we help co-working professionals with tailored cohorts and one-on-one consulting. Our proven frameworks can help you get focused, stay accountable, and see real results. Want to learn more? Check out the show notes for all the details on how to join us and take your co-working business to the next level.
Hello, folks, and we're back with another Co-working Values podcast. And in the studio today is Sam, the best kept secret in co-working. Sam, what are you known for, and what would you like to be known for?
Thanks, Bernie. Hey, y'all. I am known for being a background systems person, manager of all of the little pieces. I would like to be known for someone who tries and is kind.
Oh, I love that.
Thanks.
Saying I like to be known for being kind is a really good answer. I mean,
Oh,
we don't grade the answers. Sorry, but so we're going to talk about the Co-working Alliance Summit today, and for the, we were talking before we came on because not enough people know about this, which is partly why we're doing this podcast, and partly so I can send it to people and say you need to turn up to this. So, at a very high level, Sam, what is the Co-working Alliance Summit?
Yeah, so we are working to bring together alliances across the world. This is an international event for everyone in the co-working world or folks who are doing collaborative work, to really be able to learn from each other so we can skill up together, and just keep pushing the movement forward.
And when I'm sending this is absolutely true. When I'm sending people messages about this, I always feel the right need to say alliance, assembly, all the different iterations of it. And
Mhm.
when you say, I mean, I know what you mean, but I'm asking for a friend. When you say alliance, for folks that don't use that terminology, what do you mean?
Yeah. So when we're talking about alliance, we're really thinking about different co-working spaces, that have a shared identity, or a shared mission or values, and are coming together to support each other. So that can look like, I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. We in Charlotte used to have a co-working alliance, and it was all indie operated spaces that really wanted to support the local scene. So we had about 8 different co-working spaces locally, and we started the Charlotte Co-working Alliance. So it can be geographically spaced, but there's also a rural co-working alliance. The European Co-working Assembly, it can be larger and broader than that too.
Because there's all these people like me and Janine have been, and Ashley, I'm going to stop listing people there, it will go on forever, but we've been around for 300 years, so we've seen all these things come and go. And it used to be like a WhatsApp chat, and probably before that was a Skype call, and we just massively benefited from finding out. I remember the first time I went to Co-working Europe in 2014, I was amazed at so many people knew about co-working.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. It was it was like being a fan of some really freaky band and going to a concert. Imagine what it's like going to a Grateful Dead concert, in the 60s. Like, oh my God, here are the others. And that's a really, really nice feeling. And you get to talk about very geeky specific things. So when let's get to the how do you want people to take part in this? If we were standing in a bar and you're like, you've got to come to the Co-working Alliance Summit, how would you describe it to me?
It's collaborative. This is a space for everyone, whether you are just thinking about starting an alliance, or you've this is the first time you've heard of alliance, or you have a new alliance and you're all figuring out how to grow, or you've been around for a long time and you want to go to the next level, or you need a jump start, some reframing. This is the space where we're going to come together, share where we're all out. We're going to collaboratively build that. So there will be, facilitators who are here to help guide us through different topics, who are experts in their work. But really, ideally, you, whoever's listening to this, or you, the alliance, are helping to like create this space.
Gee, Sam, what's the advantage of me coming to this alliance thing? How will that help my members and people in my local community?
By attending the Coworking Alliance Summit, you're going to have an even bigger picture of the global co-working movement, and you're going to get skills that are applicable to not only your alliance but to your space. And those skills are going to vary from, thriving communities, how we're connecting locally, beyond our spaces and measuring our impact. It's going to look like partnerships with local governments, getting grants for your spaces. um, it's going to look like, different space tech, all that like geeky stuff. So just a lot of like little skills that are going to really ground you within the co-working world.
And what do you think stops people coming to this? Because it's, I mean, like with any event, they see it online. Is it? And I think the back. I mean, I'm pretending to ask a question there, which I already know the answer to. I think people have co-working imposter syndrome, and they see this and they think it's the super group, and they're just, I'm this little co-working. I'm like 6 co-working spaces from this space no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to come and play with the big boys and girls?
Yeah. I think there's like this aspect of co-working that's just like super intuitive. Like we as humans build community, and look, I've made this space and I'm building community. Oh, there's another space. Like, let's work together and we're building community. And so we're not always like having the shared vocabulary in the words. Like, we're not, you mentioned this before, like, it's not always alliance. Maybe it's assembly or maybe it's something else. And so we're not necessarily making the connection between what we're doing on our own level to what's happening, on a larger scale or what's happening in other regions. So I think a part of it is just like how like beautifully diverse and varied the co-working world is, and folks just don't necessarily know about the alliance. And so what we really need is like all of the alliances that know about the Co-working Alliance Summit, reach out to your networks and like, who doesn't know about it? There's a lot of regions of the world that we don't always see represented, and we want those folks to know that like this is a space for them too.
It is. It's in. You were very polite about that there, because the co-working conversation is incredibly like there's the Western society and the
Right.
rest of the world. And do you know there's a website called the Rest of the World?
No, I did not
I'm going
know
to put
that.
a link in the show notes. It's a tongue-in-cheek. It's like It's like TechCrunch,
Yeah.
but it's called Rest of the World. So it publishes all these updates on what's happening in tech and AI and community building and stuff like that. But they call themselves Rest of the World
Brilliant.
because people from where you and I live will go, oh yeah, there's London, New York, and the rest of the world kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so true. Even when you're thinking about like the language we're using, like the summit, it's all in English. That's only accessible to some folks. And in the past, like has been very like North American centered and European centered. And that's not the intention of it. There's a lot of really incredible spaces in other regions that we want to be able to connect with. So I think that's an even bigger question for our movement is like, how do we make those connections, um, and like really put our like the values we're stating into action and like closing that gap between who we want to be, and where we're currently at.
Yeah, I always think it's funny because the folks in the German Co-working Federation and the folks in Co-working Spain always say, "I'm really sorry, it's in German, it's in Spanish," and I'm like, "Well, like that's kind of what I'd expect."
Yeah.
And now, as you know, Mark and Manuel do a translation thing there.
Yeah.
But I would go, as an English guy, I would go to those things expecting it to be in its native language.
100%.
And I always thought it was a ridiculous luxury to go to co-working Europe and the whole thing is in English. And, to be able to go to a conference like that and do everything in a language that's not your native language, including, presenting on the stage and everything like that is I don't know, pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
So the other like great thing about coming to anything like this is you get to, obviously I've never done this, but you get to come and hear from like something from Coworking Switzerland or Coworking Hungary or Spain or the Kansas City Alliance and stuff, and you hear things they're doing there, and then you get to take them back to your own area and apply them there. And you obviously have to tweak a few things, but it just saves you so much brain power trying to find out new ideas and stuff like that.
Absolutely. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We're all already doing it. So let's, share that knowledge.
So what else could folks look forward to, Sam, in the whole Coworking Alliance Summit? And what would you like people to sort of come to the event, take part in, and then take away with them? Is there anything that's going on at the moment that you'd like people to connect over?
Well, I have some cool insight as I'm doing outreach to the different spaces, but there are a number of new alliances on the scene. For example, POC, people of co-working. There's Flock, the future leaders of co-working. There's going to be folks who have been in this, universe for a long time, like, Bernie and all the other people that, we could list. So it's just a really exciting moment that we're going to connect with these, brand new alliances. And I really believe that, like, no matter what level you're at, you can be a teacher. And I think there's a lot for us to learn from these new alliances, and a lot that new alliances can really gain from more experienced alliances showing up and sharing within the space.
Yeah, there's whenever you get a group of people together like this, there's two things that not just in co-working, whatever you go to, whether it's like mountain biking or cooking, or you forget how much you know, because when you're doing something a lot, there's so much you take for granted, and then other people show up and you realize you can help them along. And every single time, I'm thinking of this, like we used to run this writing group in London, and the same few people will come every week, and then new people will come along, and the new people would always say, "Oh, have you tried this app? Or have you done this? Or I started, having an ice bath before I started writing in the morning, and it took it all to a next level." So that's really, really important. And something else I've found loads of times in the so many times in the London Co-working Assembly, people have come up and said, "Is it all right? I'm here." And we're like, "What do you mean? Is it okay? You're here?" Like, of course. And like, well, I didn't know, because I thought this was like for big grown-ups co-working spaces, and I've only been going like 2 months. And it's like, this is the best place in the world for you to be, because you're going to talk to people, exactly like you said, Sam, that have been doing this for a long time, and you will save so much time and energy finding things out. Because can you imagine how much time people spend Googling things like software and plugins and and sorry to keep going, like, and the other thing is, there's so many things that you wouldn't you wouldn't find it if you searched on the internet. They only come up in conversation after 3 layers of conversation.
Yeah, no, and I have the pleasure of working with, Ashley, and working for Creative Blueprint on a number of different projects. And something that really shows up within all of the events we produce is everyone is welcome. And we really, really mean that. If you clicked on this podcast because you're like, "Oh, Alliance, what's that?" You're welcome. Like, you never heard of it? Like, that's great. Because you're going to have ideas that, like, those of us who have been like had our brains in it for a long time aren't even seeing. There's those like fresh perspectives that we like really, really need in the space. If you're joining, building, leading, supporting, growing, co-working collective or alliance, or like something that's like even slightly relevant, maybe a land trust or co-living, the event's for you. So, if you're like, oh, that sounds cool, come join us, come check it out. We'd love to have you there.
That's ace. Thank you for spelling that out, because I think people need that permission slip to get into this environment, and that's a great example, because I've been to so many things, like you and I know we can just like rock up to things and there will be something there for us. So you mentioned land trusts and co-living.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge part of this like interdependent little community that has evolved over the years. So when we get to the actual event, can you like spell out like how long it's for, and do we need to bring snacks, and do we need a raincoat and stuff like that, and what to expect?
Yeah, so this is a 3-hour virtual on Zoom participatory event. So definitely come prepared to really engage in it, to learn, to share your knowledge. I promise, we will take some breaks throughout it. Do what your body needs. You can have a snack, you can hop up, move around. But we'll really have an opportunity to co-create the time together.
And Sam, will I be listening to the same person talk for 3 hours, or will there be music?
Yes, you'll listen to me all 3 hours. No, that would be terrible. We like to invite in a number of leaders within the space, folks who have expertise in different areas. So really this kind of overarching structure is going to look like having speakers who will do some presenting to us, and then having a number kind of unconference style, right? Like having a number of times for us to break out into different groups. So that way, you want to learn more about the tech stuff, there's a space for that. You want to learn more about how we're making spaces more inclusive and diverse, there's a space for that. So no matter what you're really wanting to focus on, that conversation, that space is going to be available for you.
And you might not have planned this yet, but you do that like in a few rounds, don't you? So it's not just like one round. We mix each other up, don't we?
Yeah. I think so. This is our 5th annual summit. I've been working on the summit for about 3 years now. And last year, I believe we broke out 3 times. And within those, 3 times, there was 3 to 4 different breakout groups. So totally depends on, how wide or varied the interests are of the group, on how many spaces we have. But yeah, there will be a number of times to break out.
That's really important, because if I like, we were talking before we came on, we make everything interactive nowadays. And if I have to come to an event where I'm listening to the same person talk for 3 hours, unless it's David Bowie coming back from the dead, I'm not paying attention.
Bernie, I'd listen to you for 3 hours.
Oh, thank you. I needed to hear that. We do a podcast, it's really good.
I didn't know that.
So who else does this with you? Because we probably should have opened with that, but this is you holding it all together. And who are those other 2 scallywags that come in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure everyone knows Hector Colones with This Week in Coworking, and then Ashley Proctor with Creative Blueprint, both incredible thought leaders within the co-working industry. They started this event. This is our 5th one, so back in 2020, and we're really excited to bring it around again.
Oh my god, it's like 5 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
2020 still, sorry to deviate, folks. 2020 still seems like yesterday. In terms of like, I was in Nashville in February 2020, and I still feel like I've just got back. It's like I've blipped, or been stuck in a time warp. Yeah. So just for the people that are not in front of their screen right now, when is it?
Yeah.
Like, say the date out for the
so
audio
this is
folks.
On March 12th. Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. So you have about a little over a month. Depending on what time zone you're listening in, I think, it's 9 a.m. on US, like Pacific time zone. So we go out from there. And then it'll be
you don't need to say every time zone.
Okay.
I nearly was going to like make you do it there, but restricted. So folks, if you're listening to this and you're in and around the London Co-working Assembly, we're going to do the Unreasonable Connection event online, which will take you to the Workspace Design Show. And there's a lot of people coming from the European Co-working Assembly to that Workspace Design Show in London, where we're doing a few workshops. And we're going to be doing a workshop on how to run events in your co-working space, which will conveniently, we're going to make you all come to the Coworking Alliance Summit, and then that will feed into all the activity we're doing around European Co-working Day. And if you're listening to this and you're not from London, of course you can come in and join in. But it is very London centered because we're the London Co-working Assembly. But this is a really important step in, like, we've been doing the London Co-working Assembly for nearly 10 years now. So it's a really important step in, like, upping the game, and more people have got involved in building their little micro communities in London. So this is people, I'd love to claim this was all us, but different neighborhoods have started to self-organize into micro co-working alliances. And this would be a really good thing for you to come and hear. I'm sure other places in the world are doing the same thing. So at a time where we're all like fragmenting and not sure like what side we're on, getting together and helping each other build community within our local communities is a really, really important step. I'm sure you've got something to say on that, Sam. I can't believe I stole your thunder there.
No, I totally agree. I think if you don't know your neighbors, you're not an organizer. We're all local. Let's get to know each other on that local basis, and just help those local groups really get organized, share that knowledge.
Absolutely. And where can we go to find you and the whole thing online, Sam? What's the best place to connect with you?
Yeah, so our website is coworkingalliancesummit.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If you are seeing this post anywhere, I'll have a Bernie link you right to our website.
Yeah, the link to the website in the show notes, that's an extra $1,000. So I should have explained that before we started.
Gotcha.
Anyway, folks, if you go to the show notes, we're very proud of our show notes. We always link to everything in there, and there's a link to all the events and European Co-working Day. There'll be a link to Ashley and Hector and Sam and how to track down with them and engage with them online. And there's also a link to the LinkedIn co-working group which has been going about 100 years now, and we'll be posting about this in there. And wherever you are in the world, be careful out there. It is a jungle. Thanks for your time and attention today.
Thanks.